Welcome to Word First Radio, the podcast of Word First Ministries. Tune in each week and join us as we pursue God's command to make disciples of all nations.
Hey, what is up, you guys? Welcome to Word First Radio, the podcast brought to you by Word First Ministries. I am your host, Jacob ONeill, and today I am not joined by Cameron or Bailey. Today, you guys are just stuck with me, and not even that. Today, you guys just get my voice. We're changing locations for Word First Radio, and I can't wait to show you guys the new space next time. But right now, I want to give you guys a sneak peek into what's coming up in 2023, as well as the launching of our brand new initiative, Word First 500. So, whether you're a regular viewer on the show, or this is your first time tuning in, it's good to have you here. I hope you had a very Merry Christmas and a wonderful New Year. But before I get down to business, I want to start off by saying thank you. A couple weeks ago, we released the 40th episode of Word First Radio. You guys got to hear us chat about the weather, our experiences evangelizing and discipling, and we asked you guys to give us suggestions for future episodes of the show and to share this video around to everyone you know. And you guys delivered on our ask. To date, episode 40 of Word First Radio is at 360 views, which is by far our most viewed episode of the show. Now, here's the thing. I realize that 360 views is basically nothing compared to any other podcast you've heard of, but after months and months of our episodes getting less than 100 views apiece, more than tripling our numbers was pretty cool, and it's all thanks to everyone who shared it around. And on top of sharing it around, we also got a decent number of really good suggestions that have been sent in. Some of those include our specific language learning strategies, including episodes featuring Marissa, Grace, Whitney, Alan, and even Kirsten. That was a pretty cool suggestion. I had not thought of yet bringing Kirsten onto the show to talk about her experience, but I bet you she has a valuable perspective, so thank you for that suggestion. We're going through all the other suggestions that we've received, and we're seeing which ones we can craft into fun episodes, but we're always welcoming new suggestions, so do not hesitate to comment on this video telling us the kinds of things you want to hear about on the podcast. With the closing of 2022, Word First has finished its first full year of ministry. The team has been in Norway for 17 months in total, and it's been an insane journey. This would be our longest episode if I were to explain in detail all of the different opportunities that the team has had to do gospel work out here, but I think for now, I want to talk about some of the highlights. The first thing I want to talk about is something you've hopefully seen on our social media. We were a part of the launching of our church's coffee bike. We take this bike all over Oslo to give out free coffee, and the idea is to pray for people and hopefully strike up a conversation that leads to the gospel. The team has gotten lots of practice sharing the gospel in this culture and has led to some great conversations. It's led to more great conversations at coffee shops beyond the coffee bike, and it's led to some great relationships. Because the ground is covered in ice right now, we've put the brakes on the coffee bike so that we don't die while we try and evangelize, and we look forward to when the sun comes back and when the ice goes away so we can get right back at it. But in the meantime, we're finding other opportunities to evangelize with less than free coffee. In addition to that, our missionary work has been profiled and published by Norway's largest Christian newspaper and their largest missionary organization. Our work here is getting the attention of Norwegian Christians, and it shows us that more and more Christians here are recognizing the need for gospel workers in Norway. This development resonates personally with me. One of the reasons I felt called to Norway was because I experienced firsthand how the spiritual ice is starting to break in this culture. People are becoming more open to talking about spiritual things, and Christians are becoming more and more emboldened to preach the gospel. It's really an exciting time to be in Norway and seeing it all. Throughout the year, the team has also gotten to be a part of several ministry efforts around the country. We've been to churches in cities like Sandefjord, Ålesund to lead worship and preach, and I've gotten to lead worship at one of the most popular summer camps for youth ministry located in Vegelskei. Some of our team also was invited to attend the General Conference for the Norwegian Baptist Union. We've had lots to do in 2022, but we are only picking up the pace for 2023. First of all, this is the year that we are becoming bilingual. We've said it from day one, and you will hear me say it again. One of our highest priorities is to be fluent in Norwegian so that we can effectively and clearly share the gospel to Norwegians. We've always known that we need to be bilingual, but that reality has been hitting us harder and harder since ministry has been more and more frequent in our lives. Additionally, we are roughly a year away from planting the church that you guys sent us here to plant. I know that sounds pretty exciting, and I can't put any dates on the calendar, and we do not have everything set in stone. But right now, it seems like God's been lining up opportunities and sending people in our path, and He is directing us to plant sooner rather than later. I know that is super exciting and humbling and terrifying, and I know that I'm a huge jerk because I can't share any more details about it. But hey, if you want to learn more, please stay tuned, because as the details become clear to us, we will keep you informed along the way as best as we can. And so that finally brings me to the last item, is our brand new initiative, Word First 500. The idea behind Word First 500 is this. Every episode of Word First Radio that comes out in 2023 needs to get 500 views each. That includes this episode. Episode 40 got over 360 views when all of us together put the foot on the gas, and that tells me that 500 views is just around the corner. Now, just to clarify for a minute, we aren't looking to get more views so that we become famous. That's not going to happen at 500 views. That's not even going to happen at 10,000 views. The point of trying to increase our viewership is so that we can accomplish one of the primary goals of Word First as a ministry. We need to get the word out about the fact that Europe is the least Christian continent on the planet, and Norway is leading the pack. Even though on paper, Norway is overwhelmingly Christian, when Norwegians share their actual beliefs about God and Jesus, we find that less than 3% of Norwegians believe in the triune God or accept Jesus as their savior, and only 10% of those would ever share their faith with someone else. According to those numbers, that means there will be more iPhones purchased in the next hour. There are more Starbucks locations in the United States, and there are more bottles of wine produced in Temecula, California every day than there are evangelistic Christians in Norway. An even more alarming thing is that these numbers indicate that Norway has a lower evangelical presence than nations like Saudi Arabia, Sudan, Kuwait, North Korea, and Iran. Shooting for 500 views on our podcast helped to get us much closer to letting God's church know about the urgent need for gospel workers in Norway. So just like for our last episode, we need your help to spread around Word First Radio so that we can achieve Word First 500. So every Monday when a new episode drops, we only have a few precious hours to hack the algorithm to set us up for success. Here's some ways you can do that. First is by watching or listening to the video. If you're hearing my voice right now, you're already doing that, so thank you very much. Next, you can comment below. Even if it's just saying hi, leaving a comment lets YouTube know that our video is being interacted with and that people have things to say about it. The same thing happens when you leave a like. This helps us more than you might realize because, again, it tells the algorithm that Word First Radio is worth checking out. It helps put our show in front of more faces. You should also subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. Make sure to click on the bell icon so that you know whenever we release a new episode. And finally, the most obvious way you can put our show in front of more faces is by sharing the podcast. Share it to your Instagram, your Facebook, and your Twitter. Whatever social media you have, putting the podcast in front of more faces is going to make reaching Word First 500 easier. If you've made it this far, thanks for listening to some of these updates and goals for 2023. It's going to be a great year of ministry, and I cannot tell you how excited I am for some of the episodes that are coming your way. But before we get there, let's set ourselves up for success. Let's get Word First 500 off the ground with this video and start with some strong momentum for the rest of the year. Thank you for watching Word First Radio, and I'll see you again next time with some familiar faces. God bless.
Thank you so much for listening to Word First Radio. If you like the podcast, please like, share, and subscribe. If you want to learn more about Word First and how you can support the ministry spiritually and financially, check us out at wordfirst.us. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Word First Radio, and we'll see you again next week. God bless.